this masterclass, this Q&A, this demo is coming from AI Labs at BIMM. And RoEx are here today to talk to us. They are one of our new partners in AI and audio. So thank you so much for coming to join us. I'm not going to speak very much today. I'm going to hand over to these guys. But what I would like to do is to encourage you guys to ask as many questions as you would like throughout the whole session. We won't hold it until the end. Feel free to just raise a little hand. These guys will see it and you can ask questions as we go through. Be brave. This is the world of talking about AI. These guys have had every question you can imagine thrown at them, so don't hold back. Challenge them. Ask the hard questions if you want. But yeah, is that right? I've said that? Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to hand straight over to you guys to give us a brief history of both of you guys about RoEx, and then we'll go into some demos straight after that. Sound good? Thanks.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm Dave Ronan. I'm the founder and CEO of RoEx.
And I'm Magella Murgela. I'm a research engineer at RoEx.
I guess what we do at RoEx at a very high level is we build tools for musicians to give them the confidence they need to release their music. And more specifically, that's AI-driven tools for multi-track mixing, for mastering, audio QA, audio cleanup, basically any kind of legwork with music production, we generally take care of it. And I guess probably the next thing to cover is like a little bit about our backgrounds, I guess, why we're here and what we're doing. So I'm from Ireland originally, Limerick City. I started making music when I was about 15, mainly electronic stuff. I would probably be big into techno, IDM, jungle, that kind of stuff. And I was playing in bands when I was younger, but I suppose I kind of quickly realized I was probably better at the technical side of music production than the actual making the music itself. And I had friends who did struggle with the technical side. So I guess I saw that where I was helping them to get their stuff ready and whatnot. And I ended up studying. I did a master's. I did a degree in math, and then I did a master's in music technology to kind of, because that's what I loved. I was very passionate about music. And then eventually I moved to London for broader opportunities, and I did a PhD at Queen Mary University of London, where my PhD supervisor was actually the guy who founded Lander, and actually Agella had the same PhD supervisor as well. So that's where we met. And I guess by the end of the PhD was on intelligent audio production tools, and by the end of it, I had some intellectual property for mixing audio. And basically, at the time, I wasn't really ready to start a business. I ended up working for a startup here in London called AI Music. I was the head of research there for 4.5 years, and you could probably guess what we were doing by the name of the company. But what we were doing is like taking loops and samples that were made by our music production team, and basically creating music out of it. Creating, like, you could specify, okay, I want a 30-second song in the key of A minor at 140 BPM, and I need to be house music. We'd be able to generate that. And we ended up getting acquired by Apple, which was obviously very nice. I decided I had the option to go to Apple, but I decided not, and I started RoEx instead. So I basically went back to university, and we spun out, and that's where we are today. And yeah, I guess that's me. I've been working like music tech, I guess, since 2013. I also worked in Native Instruments very briefly as well. And yeah, that's me. I'll pass it over to Agella.
Cool. We have kind of a similar start. I started out playing in bands as well since I was 14, I would say. And obviously, when you play in bands, you want to record your own music. So that got me into sound engineering. And that was it for me. That I fell in love with it like straight ahead. And I went to SAE in Athens to study sound engineering, which I did. And I worked as a sound engineer actually for 13 years. And then I just decided, I saw where the industry was going, and I saw all of this new kind of innovation with AI. And I decided to pursue a PhD. And I went to the same university as Dave went, to Queen Mary. Under the same supervisor, Joshua Rice as well. And I did automatic mixing for people with hearing loss, so trying to adapt the mixes for people that have some sort of hearing loss. And it was so interesting that I really, really liked it, and I wanted to do more on it, basically. And then I met Dave through Josh, basically, and that was it. We've been working for RoEx, I think about 2 years, coming up to 2 years now.
2.5. Yeah.
2.5?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a bit about me.
Yeah, I guess like just a bit more kind of about the company. I guess that there's 6 of us now, 6 full time, 2 part time. We're based here in London. We're mainly work remotely, so we're kind of all spread out across. We have advisors from Universal Music Group. Elio Quinton, he's the head of AI, I guess, at UMG. We work with Rich Keller. He's 74 times platinum, 9 Grammy nominated mix engineer. He did DMX. He's worked with Snoop Dogg. He's worked with Puff Daddy. But yeah, he's basically 90s hip hop OG. And who else? We work with Scott Simon, who's the former senior director for corporate and biz dev at Isotope. So yeah, we've got the team. We've got a pretty good background in kind of music tech and basically music production, I guess. So, and yeah, we're growing quickly. We have 2 products on the market, which I can talk about in a sec. These are the 2 products that we have. We have Automix, which we'll demo first. What it is essentially is a platform where you can come along, you can upload your recordings, you provide some very basic mix settings to us, and we give you back a mixed and mastered track in minutes, and it's at very low cost as well. And we can also do cleanup as well. So like if the recordings come from less than ideal sources, we can provide cleanup as well. We can also give you a report on basically how we did the mix. So there's a kind of an education element as well, so you can learn. And we've also now just added a Ableton integration, so you can download an Ableton Live project file with your unprocessed stems in it, and we'll have set up all the EQs and the compressors, the gains, panning, everything. So you're basically back in Ableton, and you have a really good starting point for a mix, and then you can add all your creative stuff basically on top, or tweak it obviously. And then our other product is called MixCheck Studio. So this is initially it was a free tool that we launched in April 2023. The idea is that you can come along with your mixed and mastered track, you drag and drop it on it, we'll analyze it, we'll figure out what's wrong with it, if there is anything wrong with it, and then we'll tell you how to fix it in the DAW, basically, kind of like actionable feedback on what's wrong with it. We didn't expect it to do as well as it did. Music Radar picked it up as one of the most innovative products of 2023, so we're very happy with that. Since we've launched it, it's all organic growth. We haven't really done any advertising. We've analyzed over 700,000 tracks with it or something like that. Yeah. And we've literally just launched a new version 2 weeks ago, and we're about to announce it next week, basically. So the next version is like much slicker UI. I'll show you all this in a while, obviously. But basically we've added this new feature called Mix Enhance. So basically we'll try and fix the problems that we find in the mix, and we offer mastering as well. So basically get you release ready. And I guess today we know that like through all our kind of products, we've helped improve over 1 million tracks at this point, because we're partnered with United Masters, the distribution company in the US. So we handle all their mastering for them. So basically every track that gets uploaded to United Masters goes through our mastering pipelines. And it gets offered.
Okay, so this is Automix, the platform that allows you to upload your stems, your tracks, and then just create a mix and then master the mix as well. So in the first page, we have 3 different tabs, which is the multi-track, the mixes, and the masters one. In the multi-track tab, as the word might suggest, you just upload your tracks, the recorded tracks, and we offer some controls that you may have over how the track is going to be mixed. And what I mean by that is you may see the exclamation points near each track. That indicates the presence and how upfront you want that particular track to be. Then you also have the control of adding the track in a specific group that it belongs. So if it's a percussive track, you would add it to percussion. If it's a snare, a synth, etc. So it gets processed depending on the character that this particular track needs to have, basically. The concentric circles that are after that signify if you want any reverb to be added on your track within the mix, or you have the option of adding low, medium, or a high amount of reverb. And then you can specify whether you have any specific panning preference for this particular track. You can leave it as is if you don't have any specific preference, and the system will find the best possible pan for the particular track. But if you do want, for example, to keep it in the center, you can signify that by clicking on the central button. You can hear which track you have uploaded, and then in the vocals and any percussive instrument, you also have the option to do an audio cleanup. And what that does is, if there's, for example, if you recorded live vocals and there's like the rest of the band is bleeding into the vocal track, you can use this function to just clean up your audio and make sure when it gets into the mixing part, it doesn't bring up all of this additional noise. And same goes for any percussive instruments as well. So once you have selected all of your options, your groups are set, and all of your preferences with regards to reverb and panning, etc., then you can select the tracks that you want, and you can create what's called a preview. And the preview will give you back a shorter version of your track mixed, basically. So what this allows you is you can hear kind of a sample of a snippet of the mixing, and then it allows you the option to adjust if you're not very happy with it. So you can, Dave, if you click on the, actually go back on the screen and click on the before and after, so we can...
Sorry, it's the unmixed.
Okay. So let's say, for example, you're not happy with the balances in this particular mix that the system did. You can go into the adjustment panel, and you want to bring the bass a bit further up. For example, if that was your concern, or maybe bring the snare down. And so that gives you a little bit of control, because obviously you know better what needs to come out the most and what your track needs to convey the most. And when you're happy with your changes, then you can click on Save and Create Mix. And then you move over to the next tab, which will include your mixes. So these are the full mixes of the track. So after you've done all of your adjustments on the preview, then the system will move towards processing the whole track, basically. And at this stage, you have like a full mix, which you can actually download. You can hear the before and after, and you can also see a mix report. So in the mix report, we basically tell you what we did on the track and the reasoning behind why we did what we did on the track. So this is kind of an educational and more of like an insight into why we did the adjustments that we did for this particular track, which would be a great kind of feature for somebody that is now maybe learning how to mix, or is planning to export the mix into an Ableton session and wants to build from there. So you know why these actions were made in the beginning, so then you can build on top of these actions, essentially.
It's probably worth saying as well, so what the system's actually doing kind of behind the scenes is we're analysing all the individual tracks of the multi-track within the context of all the other tracks, and then finding the best settings for EQ, compression, for gain, and panning. And basically that's what gets set at the end.
Okay, so at this point, you also have the option to share what you've made. So let's say you have a collaborator, your band member, your producer, you can copy a shareable link and send it to them, and they can actually hear the before and after through the player, and give you their opinion on this track. If you want to, you can move forward and master the track. Do you want to do the mastering now, or do you want to do the Ableton session first?
No, I'll do the mastering because
Cool.
you got to jump out.
So the mastering option gives you basically two different types of mastering you can do. You can either do a kind of the traditional mastering, just choose the loudness that you're aiming for, and we have 3 different loudness settings. And then you can also do a reference mat. So for example, if you've mixed and mastered one of your tracks already, and you're making an album, for example, and you want them all to be kind of coherent, you can use your best track or something that you've made in the past, upload it as a reference, and then we're going to use this one as a reference to master your track. So there's that option as well if you want to. Then this takes you to the Masters tab, which includes all of your finished tracks basically ready to be released. essentially at this point. There's also the option to listen to the before and after. In this case, it would be the mixed versus mastered track. So similar to before, you can share at this point with one of your collaborators. You can also, if you want to rename any of the tracks, and you can see next to the waveform, there's an indication of how the track was mastered and the three options. So the medium is now highlighted, which means that this is a medium loudness mastering. If you did this using a reference, then you would see the name of the track you used as a reference, so you're not confused when you're kind of managing your projects. How the flow goes inside the platform, which is online. But if you want to, you can actually download the mix and go into Ableton.
Yeah. Actually, before we kind of jump into that, it's probably worth saying that like you can have multiple projects as well. So you know, if you have obviously multiple tracks going on, and how we normally kind of charge for it is you can either go as pay as you go, so you pay per download basically. You can mix and master as much as you want. You only pay for what you download. We actually, if you do sign up, you actually get a free download credit, and then if you subscribe, you get all the kind of extra bells and whistles, which are like audio cleanup, the reports, the reference track matching, and you can also download the process stems as well. So if you want to bring it back into and also the Ableton integration. And we're actually going to be extending a discount to all BIMM students as well, so to let you guys use it. And obviously we have a help screen as well if you get stuck, and you can reach out to us and get support. But yeah, we want to, this is something we haven't announced yet. Let me show you.
Can I ask a
yeah,
quick
sure,
question?
Of course.
Give us a layman terms view into how have you trained the AI in the background to be able to do this? What data set have you used, or what do you do behind the scenes
Great.
that
Yeah,
enables it to do what looks like magic, but it isn't?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So it's not like a typical, I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with like machine learning, but it's not like a typical black box AI model where it's trained on tons of data. The reason being is it's very hard to get good quality multi-tracks. I mean, a lot of them they're locked in a vault somewhere. You know what I mean? You're not getting access to them. So the machine learning part, the training is more. Basically it's used to understand the signals. So basically figure out, you know, looking at kind of like the peaks, looking at the timbres, where the onsets are, so we can make better decisions on better mix decisions. So we've the actual mixing part of a lot is stuff we've trained it ourselves basically. We've basically just a lot of his rules, knowledge based engineering, I guess. Rich Keller, who we're working with, has really helped us refine it as well. So yeah, the good thing is it's ethical. It's not basically we're not ripping off anyone.
If it's fairly trained.
Yeah, it is fairly trained, absolutely. So like as I said, the machine learning is only there to kind of understand what's actually happening in the signal, and then the decision process of how it's mixed. A lot of it is rules basically, and we have like psychoacoustic models for understanding how the different parts fit together. It's kind of like Lego. It's kind of optimizing how it's kind of everything kind of fits together, I suppose.
And how long does it actually take? Say for you to work out one of those peaks, and to instruct them to, how long? What is that? A year's work to do that? Do you do it in each individual? Do you map it all down within a mix? How do you go about that? Like to actually train the model to set it up with.
Right, yeah. I mean, the training doesn't take that long because it's a very kind of it's a big system that has very different small things that do different machine learning, that solve different machine learning problems. So a lot of the time the time it takes to train them isn't quite a lot, because it's only doing a very specific thing. It's not trying to do the whole mix at once. It's like it's the part of a bigger system essentially. So it doesn't take that long, to be honest.
How many tiny little points of that system are within that one model?
Oh, good question. I don't think we've ever counted them. Yeah.
Are we talking hundreds, thousands?
No,
No,
I'd
I
say
think that's but it has to do with a lot of things, like the individual genres that we're using,
Yeah.
like the individual types of instruments, like the different effects or different modules. If you think about it, so it
yeah.
So every genre you put in there, it would approach it differently.
Yes,
Yes.
it's fully adaptive. So like if depending on the instrument type and the genre type, it'll adapt to it basically, and it'll understand what's in the signal basically. So that's the beauty of it. And the good thing about it as well is like obviously we're doing music now, but it also has applications in video games, it has applications in film and TV, which is something we'll talk about a bit later on. But yeah.
Any other questions from anyone here?
I have a question actually. Should I do it in the mic?
yes, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah, my question is obviously in mixing and mastering, a massive process of that is like which EQ am I going to choose, which compressor am I going to choose, because they will have different characters and flavors.
Yeah.
Is that something, are you running are you training it to use different EQs and compressors, or do you just kind of have like a stock kind of thing? Yeah, that's my question basically.
Yeah, so we designed all the compressors and the EQs we use. We have we have optical compressors in there. We have pull text. So we basically modeled a lot of that stuff ourselves. The good thing is you'll see it now when I go through the Ableton demo. But obviously the Ableton EQ is different to the EQ we have. Arguably, it sounds better. But they're doing it 20 plus years. We're only doing it 2 years. It does translate, which is good. And obviously each DAW will have its own kind of signature sound based on the stock plugins. So, but like the gain values for the EQ and the compressor, generally they're quite translatable, but they'll all have their different unique sounds, obviously, depending. So, yeah.
Can you use it like offline, like on the road?
Not at the moment. No, we're thinking about doing a desktop version at some point. At the moment, everything's online at the moment. But if you did download your Ableton project file, which I'll show you in a sec, you can do that offline, basically. So if you were at home, you'd have to get it and then...
Yeah, but you cannot get it mixed offline.
Not offline at the moment, no. All right. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we're very excited about this. We haven't announced it yet. We've been working with Ableton for the past few months, basically, to bring this out. It'll allow you to download an Ableton Live project file with everything set up that you're good to go. We're not only going to be doing this for Ableton, we're going to be doing this for PreSonus Studio One. We're also going to be doing it for Cubase, and we're also going to be doing it for Bitwig, and definitely be doing it for Reaper. And hopefully someday we will do for Pro Tools, but we could be waiting for that one. Basically, the idea is that you check that you want Ableton, you click download, and it will download onto your hard drive. So all the individual tracks are loaded up there. Basically, the unprocessed audio that basically that you would have supplied to us. We also have a reverb send for drums, vocals, and just general. And you'll see if I just kind of go down through the tracks, like the EQs are different, the compressors are set differently, so they're all unique for each instrument, which is obviously great because you can learn from that. You can figure out why, you can see why it was done basically, because Ableton has this nice visuals for when stuff is playing. So yeah, we've set the gains for each of the tracks, and we've also set the panning as well, and we've done the reverb sends in this case as well. So I'll give you what it sounds like. Maybe just probably need to take that snare down. But that's the beauty of it. Now you can do that. You can tweak now to your heart's content. You can add in all your own plugins, basically, whatever it is you want to do. But you're already at the point of a good mix. You don't have to worry about figuring out how the EQs and compressors work. Yeah, I guess we're like, this is out to use now. We're going to announce it in January, just before the NAMM show.
Apart from, I think where you're going with it is perfect, because it's one thing doing it within the original tools,
Yeah.
But then for young producers to take that into here and be able to see the actual settings and then adjust even more, develops the learning and keeps you part of the creative process.
Yeah, and you're having fun,
which is really important.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, like, it's something like we've always, like, when we started this, we knew that we had to be in the DAW. It was just how to get into the DAWs. It's tricky because it's like they're all their own different ecosystems. You know what I mean? And I was lucky that like Ableton have this SDK for like creating live sets. And basically, I'd known about it, but I'd forgotten about it. I had a chat with them, and they were like, "Why don't you just use that?" And I was like, "Perfect, we can get back into the DAW." Because, I mean, obviously, a lot of like we have a mastering service, and you can do mastering online because it's one track in, it's one track out. It's quite simple. But like obviously, when you're dealing with stems, you want to be back in a comfortable environment and tweaking stuff. I think it's more important. You know what I mean? So. And that's, you know, it's the point of creation, and that's where we want to be. Now, so the other product we have is called Mix Check Studio. So this is the one I told you already about. Basically, you can drag and drop any track onto it, and it will analyze it, tell you what's wrong with it, how to fix it in the DAW. But we've also obviously we also can fix it for you as well. So it's in beta at the moment, so we're still refining it, but it's getting there. We're nearly there, I think. So I'm going to do it. Upload this track so you can see it end to end basically. You need to tell it if it's a mix or a master. So in this case it's a mix. The genre type, I think this is a rock track. And if you like, you can tell us about the mix style, if that's a better way to describe it, because obviously genre is a very difficult thing. You know, you might not necessarily be able to describe it. To be honest, something we're planning to do at a later date is allow you to upload a reference track so that because then you don't have to describe the genre, because then you're just going, okay, I want it to sound like Dr. Dre or whatever it is. And you'll be able to see it side by side. And then we can also obviously master it or whatever it is, like that track that you want to upload. And then you don't have to do any of this kind of genre stuff, because it's a tricky thing. It really is, the genre stuff. Okay, so I think it doesn't matter. I don't need to pick one. So yeah, that's going to upload and analyze. So yeah, this is a free tool. We're never going to charge for it. The analysis part anyway. We just we want it to. It'll always be as free as long as RoEx is around, basically. So you can see this is the report. It's picked up that there was minor clipping. You can figure out what that means by clicking on the help item. We tell you about the integrated loudness, the true peak, where it sits, if it's in the danger zone, for streaming services, if there's issues with mono compatibility. Obviously, the stereo field is important, and there's phase issues. I think one of the other things what we do is we look at the tonal profile. So we can see that basically the lows and the mids here are too high for this particular type of track and genre. And then we also, so at the bottom here, we have basically the suggested changes. So how you can go back and fix these problems that we found. So in this case, there's suggestion for clipping, what you should do about it, check if there's anything audible. If it's not, you're probably okay, kind of thing. If it's too loud for mastering, any of these kind of, they're really just common issues that you have in mixing. And basically the beauty is you can go back into the DAW and you can learn from this, and you can iterate basically and improve your mix. And what we've done as well is like you can save the mix report, so you can see your mix is getting better over time essentially. So you can see what version 1 was versus version 2. You can share the report as well. So if you want to send it to your friend or whoever it is, your mentor, whoever it is you're working with. Yeah, it's just a really handy tool for basically just making sure everything is ready to go. Yeah.
And basically, I get the technical part with clipping and stuff. It's a rule set, but deciding on the tonal balance in relation to the genre and stuff, does it do it using basically the same model as the Automix thing, or is it trained differently? It's differently.
Yeah. This is the problem. So it comes back to the genre problem. So it's kind of genre specific. So this is why we want to do the reference track thing, because obviously you can, if stuff falls between genres, which a lot of stuff does, obviously, it might not get it right. But that's why we kind of suggest that you try different settings to figure out which one's right for you. That's why we put in the mix style question. I think it's so like, is it balanced, neutral? Is it a aggressive mix? Is it bassy? That kind of thing. So we'll kind of tailor it based on that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Cool. We've added a new feature called Mix Enhance. So this will basically figure out knowing what the problems are in the mix or the master. It will basically source separate the track into its individual components, and then we'll reprocess the stems that we get out of it and put it back together again. And then we can optimize it for CD loudness or for streaming loudness, or not touch it at all, and basically fix like the stuff with the tonal profile, stuff with clipping, stuff with loudness, look at the stereo field. and basically just give it a bit of polish. But the idea is that basically it's the same thing again, that gets you release ready. And we've just launched it 2 weeks ago. So we're still figuring it out, but it's nearly ready, I would say. Any questions on that before?
You've been going 2.5 years, RoEx.
Yeah.
What have been your biggest challenges that you've come across in trying to develop this?
Good question.
What's nearly stopped you?
What's nearly stopped me? To be honest, I think a lot of it, like for us, I think we just resources. I think we've just haven't because we raised some money basically to do this, and we've had one developer for a lot of it, and I think we've kind of struggled with that. There's been a lot of problems with code quality and stuff like that, which are fixed now. So I think that has been tough on us because obviously we want to move quite quickly, and when you've kind of these problems, it can slow you down. Obviously, users have a bad experience, and then it kind of you feel kind of bad about it. But I would say the other thing is like no one's done multi-track mixing like this before either. So we're in a kind of a nascent market, so people are kind of unsure about it, I guess. Like I think actually another big problem we have is when you talk to people, I'd say in the kind of some people in the traditional music industry, they tend to lump mixing and mastering into the same thing. They're like, it's just the same thing, isn't it? And like obviously it's not. It's two very distinct processes. And a lot of people would say, oh, but they probably go, oh, but you're just like Lander. We're like, no, we're not. Lander doesn't do mixing. We do mixing. So I guess that's one of the challenges we've had. Is like, I guess it's an educational aspect. So we're just, all we can do really is educate people and try our best. So cool. So this is the enhanced preview. So I'll give you a listen. I'll loudness match it. So, you're not gonna, obviously everyone prefers louder. So this is the before. So yeah, there you go. So it's obviously it's improved the tonal profile. It's fixed the loudness. You can obviously, if you're not happy with something we've done, you can change it. So you can change the tonal profile. So if you wanted, you want to go aggressive or maybe warm, you can basically you can go through the process again and try something different. The idea then is like once you're happy with it, you generate the full track. Like that's going to take some time, but basically what we're going to do at some point soon is allow you to download the stems as well. So what we've actually sort of separated out. At the moment you just get the full track, but I think people probably want the stems as well because it's always nice to have them.
But do you get the stems from the song itself? So do you have to bring in the stems as well?
No, this is just you upload a stereo track and
it splits the stems.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. We split them out, and then we have models for the Pultec EQ, LA2A, and then we have our other kind of various components we built.
You just use it as a stem splitting tool. So if you want to like sample like an old jazz song from the 50s and you just want the saxophone, do you use it as that?
Not yet. We're going to do that soon, but I don't know. A lot of the source separation.
What in your opinion is the best like AI splitter then?
Oh, good question.
I use like Demux.
Demux, yeah. Well, that's actually built on Demux because we're not a source separation company. What the best one? I would say the best one, and it's like the music industry's best kept secret. When you go onto the website, it's you'll be like, how is this so good? Because it's just really bad branding and marketing. But it's Audio Sorcery Demix, and like it's like Rich or the guy we work with. He's a Dolby mastering engineer, and he said that's the one he uses basically, and all his colleagues and peers, that's the one they recommend as well. G Audio is another good one as well. It's a Korean company. Demix, DEMIX by Audio Sorcery. So it's Audio Source and then RE. It's really, really good. We're probably going to swap Demux out for that soon. This is a very new product. We're still figuring things out. I highly recommend it. It's like he's just brought out a newer version. It's even better. Like it's probably too good. It's a bit too clean. It's really, really good. Audio Shake is good as well. Definitely an honorable mention. G Audio is the Korean one. I think that's quite good. Is there any other ones? They're the main ones I would think are good, to be honest. Yeah. So, like I mentioned already, we've the system we've designed, we all come from music, where we love music, but we've obviously realized the technology can be used in film and TV post-production. And very recently, we did a project with Beatport. They did a documentary about the history of King Street Records, the house label. And basically, it was premiered at ADE in the iCinema, and they got us to do the audio post-production. They put it through our system, basically. And yeah, it's been released. If you're into house music, I highly recommend it. But I'll give you a quick demo of what it's the trailer, actually.
King Street Sound.
Shit, Jesus Christ.
I gotta take off my glasses for this. One of the most important dance labels to exist.
So yeah, it was a really great learning experience for us, and realized that obviously we can do this now. So we're looking at working with a company at the moment on bringing this for post-production houses, basically. More stuff that would be like reality TV, animation, that type of things. Basically, we're kind of color by numbers mixing. I guess we're trying to look at ways of integrating into, say, what's the name of that NLE, the DaVinci Resolve. We're basically looking at ways, similar to what we've done with Ableton, we want to be able to export basically into it. So the idea is that it just takes the sting out of all the kind of the post-production. That's probably our main focus for the next year as well. We're also looking at obviously video games as well, because obviously a lot of the audio production that goes to video games is within the DAW, so that's something we're actively exploring. And just making the products that we have out already. We're trying to get into as many DAWs as possible. And that's us, I think. Thank you. Any questions anymore?
So I only know about Logic Pro. So can you do it with Logic?
Unfortunately not, because Apple have their kind of locked down how the project files are created. So we'd like to one day work with Apple, but unfortunately we don't. Neither GarageBand, obviously, because Apple are quite closed, I guess, in terms of how their stuff works.
So when people want to hear music, they want to feel an emotion, and like AI, can that help with that, or does that kind of take that away? Because it's just done by a machine, you can't really feel the human experience behind it.
Do you mean in the mix, is it?
Yeah,
well, I guess, I would agree. I'd say, ultimately, music is all about conveying emotion, and being able to obviously say, if you were to work with a mix engineer and you wanted to tell them, okay, this is the chorus, this is a really sad part, I want you to bring this up, you can convey that emotion to that person, they can empathize and whatnot. Obviously, you can't do that with a machine. And I guess because of the way we've kind of evolved Automix, it was initially the way it worked was we just give you back the mix and that's it. But obviously that doesn't work, because people want to be able to tweak and they want to be able to adapt. So that's why we've gone the full length, where you can go back into the DAW and basically tweak stuff. And we've got you to the point where you're 90% there, you can start putting in your own stuff.
Would you ever move to a prompt-based AI solution?
Strongly considering it. Yeah, we've had some ideas. It's on the roadmap, I'd say. At some point, we'd really like to look into it. Because I think the way the system is designed, I think I explained earlier on, it's quite configurable, I guess, and it's quite adaptable. So it's not a black box where it's just basically you get a mix out of it and that's it. You can tweak the settings, you can tweak stuff. So I think it would work really well with a prompt-based thing. So when you say, okay, I want a basic mix, we know what that translates to basically in mix settings.
How does your product compare to that, which would be a built-in plugin that works in multiple DAWs?
Yeah, I guess I guess it's very different kind of product. So Ozone is for mastering anyway.
Yeah.
The problem we would love to be more so in the DAW, in a plugin, but I think with mixing, and the thing is with plugins, they're only able to listen to the audio buffer that comes through it. So if we were to do it in a plugin form, we'd have to have multiple plugins on each channel and then one on the master bus, and they'd all need to have to talk to each other basically to make mix decisions. We've thought about it. We could do it, but I think it might be a bit too complicated. You know what I mean? I can see it going wrong quite quickly. I think it's the best, for us, I mean, if we were to be actually integrated into a DAW like in the architecture itself, I think would be the best thing for us, basically. So
Okay.
yeah, that's where we're like. I mean, with Ableton now, it's kind of the first push into the DOS. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
Have you heard of DJ Studio? They also mix like whole DJ sets.
Oh, cool.
Can you do the same with RoEx?
I've never thought about it. We probably could, but yeah, it'll be a very different product to what we're kind of used to be honest. I'm sure we could if we gave it a go. But yeah, it's not really our focus. Obviously, we're just more into music production.
Yeah, you mentioned that you do some audio post-production for films and TV with it. Does it, or do you plan to do it in the future? Can it adapt to different listening formats, to let's say 5.1, 7.1, or Atmos or whatever, when film is in question?
You can take that one.
Yes. So the way we're looking at it now at the moment, this is something that obviously we're considering as well, because obviously when you have like TV sound or film sound, you need to be able to cater to these formats as well. So we've looked into Atmos as well for quite a bit. Yeah, this is definitely going to be part of it, 100%, because it is an essential part of the process of post-production anyway. So we need to be able to cater to that as well. But yeah, I think.
Yeah. Actually, it's just something we didn't mention was spatial immersive formats. So obviously there's Dolby Atmos. So you have a Dolby Atmos studio over. But Google are actually about to release a new immersive format called, the technical name is IAMF. I don't know what their marketing name will be. But basically the idea is it will be a new spatial format that you don't need to license it from Dolby because it's going to be open source. And it's going to be within YouTube. So basically you will be able to listen to spatial content on YouTube now using this new format. It should be out in the next couple of months, I would say. They're slowly rolling it out. But the good thing is it's kind of where Dolby is kind of cinema down, this is creator up. So anyone, like we're looking to build tools around this as well. So we'll be able to like do automatic spatialization of your music. So that's something we're really interested in as well. Once that's ready, basically. So they're already doing like plugins and everything for doing all that stuff.
We are up on an hour, so we'll leave it there unless there's any last questions. But I think thank you for all your questions. As I mentioned at the start, so RoEx are a BIMM partner now moving forward. They're not just a guest for today. They are going to be around and involved in BIMM over the next next year, 18 months, however long we go. We'll be doing some work placements. We're looking at getting some students involved in some of the development and the research side of stuff. You'll be coming in doing some more live sessions with our students, some in-class guests, all of that stuff. So they are going to be around. You're going to be seeing them and everything they're doing. At the end of this video, there will be links to the discounts to this software that you're giving to our BIMM students. So thank you so much for that.
No problem.
And thanks for coming in today. Round of applause for our guests, everybody.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, guys. Good night.
Cheers.